Welcome to another episode of Smash Writing. I'm your host today, and even though Justin doesn't like me saying our names because he's like, they already know who we are, I am Paul, your host for today's episode, and today we are going to be talking about the movie Fresh that's currently on HULU. It is starring Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan. I do not know where to go with this film because when I watched it, well, first off, when I heard about it, I didn't watch no previews or even if there was previews out there, so I kind of went in drawing a blank. I clicked on and found it on Hulu, and basically I read the summary, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is a probably like an abusive boyfriend type of story, and that's where I was going to go from there. No problem. Me and my wife watched it, and oh my god. So the movie starts how you think it should start. Daisy plays a I guess newly single or still trying to find the right guy. The right guy for her. And the movie instantly starts off with like just probably the way generations have changed. Whether it's good or not, whether you accept it or not, where like the guy's like, oh, I don't care, cash, you pay for it. And it's like a Chinese place, not a fancy Chinese place or anything. And he's just a complete jerk, but it's like, oh, this is almost acceptable these days. So then, she has, she meets up with her friend and her best friend, who I guess at one time they were co-workers, and that's how they've known each other. And they're sharing laughs and hook up, talking about what they need to do and everything else like that. Girl talk, nothing big, nothing small. The movie starts to pick up pace when they introduce Sebastian Stan. And, he's at a grocery, like a local little grocery store, and she's shopping, he's shopping. And that's when they start to meet. And the first couple of little dates they had, hangouts and dates were just fine. Nothing out of normal. So now, at this point, I'm like, okay, we know these are the two biggest stars. We know something is going to happen. And, is he going to be psychotically jealous? I'm just playing with the Rubik's Cube. Is he psychotically jealous? Is he going to kill her? Is he going to kill people around her? What is he going to do? So he plans like a little weekend getaway. But instead, he convinces her to go to his house at first because he's running late and it'd just be easier to, stay at his house. First, she's like, okay. And she goes, she goes to his place and they start to have a drink and instantly she falls over. So now we know he's like, okay, he's not even want to let her to find another boyfriend. He's just drugged her. Now this is where, and if you haven't watched it, spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, come back and then tell me what you think of it as well. So here we are, and she wakes up, and he has her chained like to the floor, and you're like, okay, what is going on here? Yeah, there's so much more that's going on. So he explains that he really does like her and he's not going to kill her, and he starts to feed her and everything else like that. And then he reveals he's a human butcher. Yeah, a human butcher. Instantly, I'm kind of caught off guard because, I'm like, what? And then slowly she hears that there's other girls in the rooms, and he still takes a liking to her, but she tries to escape. As a punishment, oh, just thinking about it, he cuts off her ass, like her cheeks. I'm assuming, because you can't really remove the ass, but he cuts off her cheeks as a punishment. I wish that was like the most gruesome part of it, but it's not. It goes so much beyond that. So she's communicating with the other girls through the walls, and slowly the third one gets pays her dues and gets chopped up. Which you've seen him from time to time chopping up body parts, putting them in freezers, boxing them up, boxing them up with the pictures. Like, I've been to one really really fancy steakhouse. I was from a bachelor party, and it kind of reminded me of that because the chef comes out, and this is like a very very expensive piece of steak. It's a certificate, and you're taking a picture of the chef. You're like, oh, here's my steak on this. It's certified. It did come from this cow. That's kind of how this reminded me, because it's like I'm watching and I'm like, he has the pictures, puts some panties or some type of clothing in these boxes, and I'm getting sick to my stomach even trying to review. Can you imagine how me and my wife felt when we were trying to watch this film? And so, okay, so there's that gruesome part, and he's still trying to say that he does like her, but he does have a job to do, and this is how he makes his cash, is by chopping up women. I'm assuming it's just women. That's the only ones we see to this point. Chopping them up and selling their parts for food. I just can't. This is intense. So at this time, her best friend is obviously concerned. She's been trying to call. It's now been, I guess, close to a week, and she starts doing all this research, connecting the dots. She finds out that Sebastian Stan's character, which he goes by the name of Steve and Brendan. I think Steve was his fake name. Brendan is at least the real name. She learns that this guy is actually married and has this normal house, nothing out of the blue. So she goes there and she's talking with his wife. And he comes home and he's denying it at first until she calls her friend's cell phone, which he has in his pocket. A typical movie cliche glitch in my eyes, because to be honest with you, you're over there cutting off ass cheeks, kidnapping people, and you make a dumb mistake of putting their cell phone in your pocket and keeping it there for X amount of days. Now here's the real kicker. She is drugged too, and we learn at this point the wife's in on it. Are you kidding me? This is insane. So she knows that her husband is a human butcher. Oh my God, I'm getting sick to my stomach talking about this. Okay, so then we go back to now she's kidnapped. And we see her on the surgery table at his house. Now, we don't know at this point exactly what is going on, what's he chopping off or something like that. But we also learned that while his wife is taking a shower, that she's missing a bottom part of her leg. Now, instantly I thought, oh my God, he's eating his wife too. It doesn't make that clear, but it makes you assume, because it's okay, she's missing half of her leg. We don't know if it was a birth defect, a previous injury, whatever the case may be. But we do know her husband is kidnapping women, cutting them up, and feeding them to people. Oh my God. I can't do this. I can't even finish talking about this movie. So now we fast forward. He's still trying take care of Noah. And sorry, I had to look at the name. Noah. That's Daisy Edgar Jones's character, Noah. And she starts to realize that she needs to find a way to get out. She has to start coming up with a plan and everything like what she does, and that's just by letting him seduce her and going along with it. So she convinces him that she wants to try these fancy meats. I forgot what the first meal was, but the second meal was breast. She ate a woman's titty. Point come to shove, we find out in the film that was her friend's titty. Ugh. Oh my God, it's too much right now. So the one after the breast eating dinner, they start to get lovey-dovey with each other, and you're thinking like, okay, you kind of see where this is going because she's about to give him a blowjob, and instantly like tears into his pee-pee. And that's her escape. Now, obviously, I'm assuming she didn't bite it off, just injured him bad because he gets up bleeding everywhere. And she goes and rescues the one woman alive and find out that her friend's there, which we know as watching this film, she just ate her friend's boob. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, okay. So now, Sebastian Stan's character, Brendan, is taking a beating at this point. Because now you got 3 women, 3.5, 2.5, because the one woman, Molly, I believe her name, is missing a leg and eye bandage and all that. So they're taking their shots instantly. Bam, 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 bam. But he's still kicking. He's still fighting. And basically, they run into his yard, and that's where they finally kill him. But now the wife's looking for him because he's not answering his phone. And I think, from my understanding of watching this film, she's thinking that he actually does have a thing for having a thing for Noah because he seems to be favoring her a lot. So, okay. But they ended up killing him. They ended up, of course, killing the wife. She fights, puts up a fight, but and the film ends, with them leaving this house of torture. Okay. I hate talking about this plot. First off, it grossed my wife out. Like, she was just like, why did you pick this film? I'm like, it's my job. I have to review this. So, this type of film, I don't know if you really need a lot of character development. I would like to know more about the husband and wife situation, because like I says, it leaves you in the dark. It's like, did he eat her leg or sell her leg or something like that? We do learn Sebastian character's Brendan's backstory, but still there are other elements that, like I said, regarding the wife that we don't know about. And I think that should have been addressed because it's leaving us to assume, and we could be completely wrong. Now, I guess this is more of a psychological thriller rather than any type of horror, or maybe it is nasty. It is the gore, seeing legs everywhere and chopping off ass cheeks and titties and everything else like that. The acting was probably right where it needs to be. I don't think Sebastian Stan is like a Oscar type of performance guy. But I mean, he holds his own, and that's kind of what he did. Daisy as Noah, I don't really know too much about Daisy to really see how she performs. In this film, the character was obviously, you're being chained up and got to find a way to get out of there. I appreciate all that. Now, the movie is 114 minutes long. I gotta be honest with you, I think that was the one negative, in a sense, like a in your face negative, because it should be more of like 90 minutes. Dragging out certain scenes or wasting time. If you're going to give me a 114-minute film, make those scenes count. And this one, it really didn't. So, even though the gore there, the acting was on point, the character development, it is what it is. The idea, fresh. Now I'm thinking like, sir, like fresh meat. Now you get it. I like that. This definitely was something to watch if you got a strong stomach. So, in the end, I am giving it a B, maybe like 85%. Definitely, like, putting it probably on point with, like, the Human Centipede type of movie. Like, it's not going to wow you, but it's going to go, wow, what is going on? So, in the end, I'm giving it a B, 85%. And, you know, if you're a Sebastian Stan fan, a Daisy fan, you have Hulu, you like horror films, thriller films, you know, torture. Hey, this is your fan. This is your movie. So, 85% B. Until next time, bye-bye.